The first text came months after the divorce. "We need to talk urgently." My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I typed back without thinking. "Another time. I'm on a date with your sister." Sent. I leaned back, letting the absurdity sink in. But I didn't yet know how much sense it would make later. It started long before that text. The real story began the night Madison walked out. I just survived the worst investor call of my life, the kind where disappointment arrives before words ever leave someone's mouth. My hands were shaking, my heart racing. I trudged back to the house, expecting sanctuary. Instead, silence. Heavy. Wrong. I walked into our bedroom. Madison was folding clothes into a suitcase. Calm, methodical. No yelling, no tears. 10 seconds passed before she looked up. When she did, it was the face of someone who had already decided. Detached, absolute, final. "I want a divorce, Brandon," she said. Calm, final, unforgiving. I froze. The next morning I asked why. What had changed? Where did this come from? She paused folding a sweater, looked at me like I was naive. She said our startup was failing, that I had been failing, that she married ambition, not someone who couldn't secure funding in a boom. I reminded her about the student loans I'd paid off, $60,000 over 3 years, and the 2 years I supported her art studio. She refused to acknowledge any of it. Then she said something that still echoes. "I married potential, not failure." Those words cut deeper than any shouting match could have. She had been evaluating me like a business investment, not a partner. I asked if there was someone else. She said no, but the half-second pause told me the truth, even if I couldn't prove it. Looking back, the signs had been there for months. Late nights at the studio, vague plans, constant phone checking with a guilty look. I'd been too buried in the startup to notice. She zipped the suitcase, walked past me without a word. No touch, no apology. I heard her car fade down the street. Alone. The house suddenly felt 3 times bigger. That night, bourbon in hand, I replayed every memory, every moment, trying to find the exact point she stopped seeing me as a partner and started seeing me as a liability. Betrayal doesn't just hurt, it rewrites history. Every smile, every "I believe in you" suddenly felt tainted. The next day, dragging myself to the office, I found Derek, co-founder, college friend, my supposed right-hand man, sitting at the conference table with hands folded, laptop closed, like he was about to deliver a death sentence. "I'm leaving," he said. "Accepted a position at a competitor, not personal, just stability." "How long?" I asked. "Over a month. Interviews, meetings." While I was burning savings to keep the company afloat, he had been planning his escape. I nodded, let him take his things. 2 hours later, 4 desks became 1. I stared at code I didn't understand. Derek had been the technical mind. I was the business. Without him, I wasn't sure who I was anymore. I called Clark, my corporate lawyer. He referred me to Harper Knox, cold, strategic, a lawyer who didn't care about feelings. Perfect. Harper outlined Madison's demands, half the business, half the savings, house, car, everything except my laptop and the debt. I told her I'd give up everything except the company. 6 weeks later, the divorce was final. Madison signed remotely. I had $15,000 in credit card debt, no home, and a company barely surviving. I lived in my car at first, rotating through friends' couches. Surviving, barely. The company barely breathed. 2 clients, covering servers, 16-hour days learning Derek's technical work, outsourcing the rest. Networking events became unbearable, everyone asking about Madison, pity in their eyes. Then came Nicole, Madison's younger sister. Text, "I heard what happened. I have a couch if you need one, no strings attached." I almost ignored it, too good to be true, but I was desperate. I drove to her apartment with 2 duffel bags and a laptop case. She didn't pry, didn't question, just said, "Couch is yours, bathroom down the hall, dinner in 20 minutes. Normal human words, words that almost made me cry. For the first time since Madison left, I felt something close. Living with Nicole was strange at first. Not awkward, but tense with uncertainty. I expected an eviction, a report to Madison, some hidden agenda. None came. Her apartment smelled of cinnamon from cheap candles. Art supplies everywhere. Half-finished paintings, sketchbooks, colored pencils. She left early for school and returned around 4 p.m. I worked at her kitchen table, laptop open, coffee cup empty. We existed in quiet rhythms, side by side but separate. She didn't push me to talk, didn't probe my pain, didn't force me to relive betrayal. One night she came home with groceries. I offered to pay half. She laughed softly. "This isn't charity. This is life." The company began to turn. Slowly. One client via a 2 a.m. cold email, another through a referral. Suddenly, I wasn't just surviving, I was building. Nicole's presence made the apartment feel less empty. We watched movies on weekends, laughed again. Not forced, not polite, real laughter. 3 months in, subtle shifts happened. She touched my shoulder when passing. We started cooking together, arguing over garlic, minced or pressed. Standing next to her felt like home. One Saturday night, sipping cheap wine on her tiny balcony, we talked about impossible dreams. Me rebuilding the company, her opening a community art center. The kiss happened on a Thursday night. She made a comment about teaching being underrated. I leaned in. She kissed me back immediately, surprised, grateful, certain. Hours of conversation followed. Love confessed. Madison barely crossed my mind. Slowly, genuinely, life became ours. Then came Madison's text. "We need to talk urgently." I stared, looked at Nicole sleeping, smiled, texted back, "Another time. I'm on a date with your sister." She woke up, saw the message, and laughed until she couldn't breathe. The next morning, Madison arrived unannounced. Nicole opened the door. Madison froze. Shock and rage. She demanded to talk alone. Nicole left. I waited, calm, sitting in the same chair where I first kissed Nicole. Madison looked smaller somehow, stripped of confidence and polish. She confessed. Affair with Derek during our marriage. Derek promised her stability, but 3 months post-divorce, his deception unraveled. He stole clients, copied code, pitched to competitors. Madison realized she had left me for someone worse. She asked if we could try again. I laughed softly. No, not because of Nicole, though partly because of her, but because our marriage had been broken long before. Happiness had been performed, not lived. She cried, begged, but I refused. She left, turning back once.
Derek's betrayal demanded action. Harper Knox sprang into work. Forensic tech confirmed Derek copied code at 2 a.m. before quitting. Lawsuit, theft of intellectual property, breach of contract. Derek's company settled within a month, paying debts and allowing me to hire a small team. Derek barred from tech for 5 years, reputation destroyed. The company stabilized gradually, hired developers, project manager, moved into an office. Nicole and I moved into a larger apartment, 2-bedroom, balcony, studio, life solidifying. We got engaged on the anniversary of my move to her apartment. She told her parents. Small wedding, close friends, students. Madison, uninvited. Bridges better left burnt. I realized something I never understood with Madison. Love isn't potential, it isn't status. It's showing up when it's hardest and staying when leaving would be easier. I think about Madison occasionally, less and less. Nicole asks if I regret anything, only that I hadn't met her sooner. She smiles. Everything happened as it needed to. Watching Nicole laugh with her students, I finally understood the difference between conditional love and real partnership, respect, presence, consistency. What would you have done in my shoes? Drop a comment. Hit like if you felt every betrayal and triumph. Don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping real-life stories.